Morning. Let's start the daily discussion on current affairs. The first topic of discussion is how the Digital India will shape the future of the country's cyber landscape. So, government has passed the Digital India Act. It is a step towards making India digital. Nations all over the world are wrestling with the necessity of modernize their legal frameworks in order to adapt to the changing digital landscape. Okay, because now technology revolution has made the world digital, so the countries around the world are making necessary changes in the legal framework to adapt to the changing digital landscape. India is no exception with its ambitious Digital India plan. Recently announced Digital India 2023 DIA is an important step in establishing a future-ready legal framework for the country's burgeoning digital ecosystem. So the Parliament has passed the Digital India 2023, and this is very important step in establishing so detail regarding the Digital India 2023. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology (MeitY) has taken a proactive approach to regulate and influence the nation's digital destiny. The DIA, which is set to replace the 2-decade-old Information Technology Act 2000, intended to meet the difficulties and opportunities posed by the internet's extraordinary expansion and developing technology. Okay, because way back, okay, so the DIA major goal is to align India's regulatory landscape with the digital evolution in the 21st century. Since its inception, India's internet user count has increased from 5.5 billion to 850 million. With the advent of various intermediaries and the spread of new forms of user harm, such as cyberstalking, trolling, and doxing, the nature of internet use has also transformed. ଯେତିକି ପିଲା ଫ୍ରି ପିଲା ଗୋଟେ ଆରଥର ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ରି ପିଲା ଆସୁଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ 7-8ଟା ପିଲା ଆରଥର ସେମାନେ ତ ଫ୍ରି ଦେଇଦେବେ ତାପରେ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ହଁ ସେତିକି ପିଲା ରଖିବେ ତାକୁ କେଉଁ ସେ କ'ଣ କଣ୍ଟା ନା କ'ଣ ତା ନା ହଁ ପ୍ରଣବକୁ ସେ ପ୍ରଭାସାର ସାଙ୍ଗେ କଥା ହେଇଯିବ। With the advent of various intermediaries and the spread of new forms of user harm such as cyberstalking, trolling, and doxing, the nature of internet use has also transformed. That DIA, okay, Digital India, is aware of these changes and intend to create a thorough legislative framework to handle them. Key provisions: for starters, it emphasizes online safety and trust with a commitment to protecting citizens' rights in the digital sphere while being adaptable to new market dynamics and international legal principles. Second, the Digital India Act gives rules for the proper use of new age technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain, recognizing their expanding importance. The Digital India Act does not just let the market determine the path of this technology, but actively participate in guiding their development and use within a regulatory framework. It encourages ethical AI techniques, data privacy in blockchain applications, and accountability measures in the usage of these technologies. This forward-thinking approach not only benefits residents and businesses, but it also positions India as a responsible player in the global technological environment, posed to capitalize on the full potential of emerging technologies while mitigating associated dangers. Third, it supports the open internet concept by striking a balance between accessibility and the required rules to maintain order and safeguard users. Furthermore, the Digital India Act requires strict know your customer standards for wearable devices which were supposed by criminal law sanctions. Right? Because these are more and more used right now. So as per this, so the act should make necessary changes. So okay. Lastly, it contemplates a review of the safe harbor principle, which presently shield online platform from liability related to user-generated content, indicating a potential shift in online accountability standards. So, what? This is very important. So, safe harbor principle, which presently shield online platform from liability related to user generated content. If the user generating content, the platforms will be held responsible, from indicating a potential shift in online accountability standards. So right now, the online platforms will be held responsible. The numerous difficulties: one major source of concern is the potential impact on the innovation and business each. Stricter rules, particularly in developing technology, may unintentionally impede entrepreneurial endeavors and discourage foreign investment. Furthermore, a reassessment of the safe harbor principle, which protect internet platform from responsibility for user-generated content, could lead to a more cautious stance among these platforms, thereby limiting freedom of expression. Because right now the users are developing content, are uploading, and after the act is passed, so this should be regulated. First they will be regulated, so the platforms will try to check it, and so the users content by the users will be comparatively less. Furthermore, the success of the Digital India Act depended on effective enforcement, which will necessitate significant resource, knowledge, and infrastructure. Balancing the interest of numerous stakeholders, especially ITTNs, while protecting citizen right is a huge task. Therefore, while the Digital India Act is a progressive move, its implementation and potential repercussions warrant vigilant monitoring and adaptability to avoid unintended consequences. The Digital India Act is a crucial step towards ensuring a secure, accountable, and innovative digital future for India. More frequent. Okay, the next topic is a topic on geography regarding the cyclones in the East Arabian Sea. A study published recently by the in the Nature journal highlighted the worries about the climate change producing frequent tropical cyclones in the Eastern Arabian Sea. The study is part of the forecasting with Fisher's project by the Advanced Center for Atmospheric Radar Research at Cochin University of Science and Technology. USAT. Key findings of the study: increasing frequency and severity of cyclones, warming pattern in the ocean and atmosphere are causing more frequent and severe tropical storms in the eastern Arabian Sea, which is next to India's west coast. Tropical cyclones in the Arabian Sea are most common towards the commencement of the southwestern monsoon season between March and June, and after the season between October and December. The Arabian Sea accounts for around 2% of the early global average tropical cyclones, yet it poses a significant threat due to its highly populated coastlines. Impact of Indian Ocean dipole: the positive phase of the Indian Ocean dipole, in which one part of the ocean warms faster than the other, causes warmer sea surface temperature and increased precipitation in the western Indian Ocean region. The Indian Ocean dipole, sometimes known as the Indian Nino, is a phenomenon similar to El Nino that occurs in the Indian Ocean between the Indonesian and Malaysian coastline in the east and the African coastline around Somalia in the west. The Indian Ocean dipole, unlike the El Nino which originates in the Pacific Ocean. Anthropogenic influence: the recent increase Okay. So coming to the anthropogenic influence, the recent increase in the frequency of extremely severe climatic cyclonic storm of the Arabian Sea during the post-monsoon season attributed to anthropogenic human caused influence rather than natural variability. Human-induced climate change is contributing to the intensification of higher frequency of cyclones in the Arabian Sea. Impact on the Western Indian coastline. The intensification and increased frequency of cyclones pose a significant threat to the densely populated coastal regions along India's western coast, from Gujarat to Thiruvananthapuram, which face higher risks such as strong wind, strong storm surges, heavy rainfall, and other associated hazards. Coastal community concern. Changes in cyclone pattern are predicted to have a considerable impact on the lives and livelihood of indigenous coastal people and artisanal fisheries, demanding additional research and adaptation technology. Recommendation. The report recommends revision to development strategy to account for increased cyclone risk, as well as the need for updated storm warning regulations and technologies, as well as localized weather services. More information about tropical cyclones. Cyclones in the Bay of Bengal are relatively more frequent and intense than those of the Arabian Sea. The Bay of Bengal typically see multiple cyclonic events during the tropical cyclone season, which is primarily from April to December. The Bay of Bengal usually has higher sea surface temperatures, especially during the pre-monsoon and post-monsoon season, providing the necessary energy and moisture for cyclone formation and intensification. The convergence of the wind in the Bay of Bengal combined with the Coriolis force resulting from the earth rotation creates an environment suitable for cyclone genesis. These converging winds from the area of the low pressure which can develop in tropical disturbances and cyclones. Okay, but right now they are more frequent in the Bay of Bengal, but their intensity is growing in the Arabian Sea side of the Indian Ocean. And the next topic is the Dandeli forest. The Dandeli forest in the Karnataka's Uttara Kannada district, known for their diverse wildlife and ecosystem, face substantial environmental shift due to changing climate pattern and human interventions. Key facts. Okay, we're going to keep facts about the forest. The Dandeli forest lies in the Karnataka's Uttara Kannada district and is part of the Western Ghats, a worldwide renowned biodiversity hotspot. Because of its great biodiversity, including a broad range of flora and fauna, the forest is an important wildlife habitat. The Kali Tiger Reserve is located next to the Dandeli forest. Tiger Reserve includes two of the region's most important protected areas, the Dandeli Wildlife Sanctuary and the Ansi National Park. Coming to the Indian Air Force Day 2023, Indian Air Force Day is celebrated on 8th October every year to commemorate the establishment of Royal Indian Air Force on 8th October 1932. The Indian Air Force unveiled its new ensign during the 91st Indian Air Force Day celebrations. The new ensign prominently displays the Indian Air Force crest on the top right corner, along with the national flag in the upper left cannon and the Indian Air Force tricolor roundel in the lower right. This design was officially adopted in 1951. The theme of the Indian Air Force Day 2023 is Indian Air Force Air Power Beyond Boundaries. The motto of the Indian Force is Touch the Sky with Glory, has been taken from the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Till now, Indian Air Force has fought 4 conflicts with Pakistan in 1974-78, 1947-48, 1965, the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971, and the 1999 Kargil War and Operation Meghdoot. Apart from this, they have also participated in the surgical strikes. 6 basic tests. For many years, the traditional 5 basic flavor of sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami have been part of our concept of test word. Recent scientific research, however, has revealed the evidence for 6 basic test experience. According to a recent study published in the Nature Communications, there is a 6th basic test. Ammonium chloride triggers with novel flavor, which activates the same protein receptor that signals sour taste. According to research, the protein OTOP1 is responsible for detecting sour taste. OTOP1 is found within cell membrane and serves as a route for hydrogen ion to enter the cell. Scientists employed a technology that monitors electrical conductivity to stimulate nerve signals conduction to test their findings. Ammonium chloride boosted the action potentials of normal mouse test cell. Genetically modified mice missing OTOP1 did not respond. This supported their theory that OTOP1 responds to salt by producing an electrical signal in test bot cells. World Dyslexia Day. World Dyslexia Day, observed annually on October 8th, put light on the difficulty that people with dyslexia confront. In addition, from the 2nd to the 8th of October every year, Dyslexia Awareness Week is observed. What is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a specific learning disorder that primarily affects a person's ability to read, write, and spell accurately. It is characterized by difficulties in processing language-related tasks, including recognizing and decoding written words. However, dyslexia is not related to intelligence. Theme of 2023 uniquely you. Okay. The Rodi cell duck, the first group of roughly 50 Rodi cell ducks, also known as the Surka birds, landed in Uttarakhand for 6 month winter stay. It belongs to the family of Anatidae under the order of the Anseriformes. In India, it is known as the Brahmini dog. It is distributed in Europe, Asia, Indian subcontinent, and few pockets in Africa. These dogs are migratory birds. They winter in the Indian subcontinent, South India, and Southeast Asia. They inhabit large wetlands, salt lake, cattle lakes, river with mud flats, and single banks. This is mainly nocturnal bird. It is omnivorous and feeds on grasses, the young shoots of plants, grains, and water plants, as well as both aquatic and terrestrial invertebrates. There are no sitting dogs. They scale the mighty Himalayas when flying to India from the north, attaining heights of 6,800 meters. Conservation status is least concern in the IUCN list, International Union of Conservation of Nature. The Udangudi Panan Gurpatti. Recently, Udangudi Panan Gurpatti Palm Jaggery Good from Tamil Nadu has received a geographical indication tag. The palm jaggery preparation techniques in this location is still traditional to this day with no new modern strategy incorporated. The karupatti made from the palm sap from the region around Udangudi in the Tiruchendur Taluk in Thormukti district is distinctive. This is owing to the region's occurrence of red sand dune soils. This soil has a lower capacity to store groundwater because of the dry weather conditions. The moisture concentration in the atmosphere is low, resulting in a high sucrose content which adds flavor to the jaggery. The region's dry climate is also ideal for storing kurpati for an extended period of time. It is made without the use of any chemical additives such as the triplet sulfate phosphate or phosphoric acid. Key facts about the GI tag. It is a sign used to product that have a specific geographical origin and possesses quality or a reputation that are due to that region. This is typically used for agricultural products, foodstuffs, wine and spirit drinks, handicrafts and industrial products. The Geographical Indication of Goods Registration Protection Act 1999 seek to provide for the registration and better protection of the geographical indication related to goods in India. This GI tag is valid for 10 years, following which it can be renewed. Then the Mont Blanc, according to new data, Mont Blanc, France's highest peak, has shrunk in height over the last 2 decades. So Mont Blanc is France's highest mountain, and as per report, the last 2 years, its height is going down. Okay, so it is the highest peak, 4807 meter in Europe. It is located in the Alps and lies along the French-Italian border and reaches into Switzerland. It is nicknamed as the roof of Europe. Its name comes from the perennial snow cap that cover it, meaning literally the White Mountain. The mountain stands in a range called the Garian Alps between the region of the Asturi Valley, Italy, and the Savoy and the Rusto of France. Key facts about Alps. The Alps emerged during the Alpine orogeny, an event that began about 65 million years ago at the Mesozoic era was drawing to a close. The young cold mountain with a rough rock relief and high conical peak. The Alps arose as a result of the collision of the African and Eurasian tectonic plates in which the Alpine testi, which was formerly in between these continents, disappeared. The Alps extend north from the subtropical Mediterranean coast near the Nice, France to Lake Geneva before tendering southeastern to Vienna at the Vienna Woods. There they touch the Danube River and melt with the adjacent plain. The Alps form part of France, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, Serbia, and Albania. So this mountain range extends over so many countries of Europe. The Javan rhino. Official in Indonesia recently reported the sighting of a new Javan rhino calf in the Ujung Kulon National Park, which is home to the critically endangered species final surviving population. The Javan rhino, also known as the lesser one-horned rhino, is the most threatened of the 5 rhino species. Scientific name is Rhinoceros sundaicus. They once lived throughout northeast India and southeast Asia. Today, the entire population of the Javan rhino is found in the Ujung Kulon National Park on the very western tip of Java, Indonesia. Habitat: they inhabit forest, marshy area and regions of thick bush and bamboo. Population: in 2020, park managers relying on camera trap data to identify the track the animal estimated that no more than 60 to 74 surviving individuals remain. It is a small and lighter relative of the great one-horned rhino. They can reach a height of 1.7 meter, 5.6 feet and weight up to 2300 kg. They have grey or green brown skin, almost black when wet, with pink coloring in the fold. Similar to the Indian rhino, the Javan rhino has a single horn, unlike the other 3 species of rhino which have 2 horns. The smallest of horns for all species of rhinoceros, measuring less than 20 cm in length. Lifespan 30 to 45 years in the wild. They have herbivorous, only eating plants. They are solitary animals except for mating pairs and mother with the young. Conservation status: IUCN red list is critically endangered because very few are still surviving of these species. Economics Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize in Economics 2023 was awarded to Claudia Goldin, a Harvard University professor, for having advanced our understanding of women labor market outcomes. Goldin's pathbreaking work has shed light on the participation of women in the labor market over the past 200 years. She also explained why the pay gap between men and women refuses to close even as many women are likely to be better educated than men in higher income countries. While her research focuses on the USA, her findings are applicable to many other countries of the world. But the key finding: older data gives perspectives. Goldin reached back to older data to reveal that before industrialization, more women were likely to have been involved in economic activity related to agriculture and various cottage industries. So that was where the women are get more employed or engaged. With greater industrialization, work was concerned in factory and women found it difficult to leave their home and travel to work. This trend reversed in the early 20th century with the growth of service sector. Marriages and limitations. According to Golden research, during the early 20th century, While around 20% of women were gainfully working, the share of married women was just 5% because after marriage, their family and social responsibility increased, so putting restrictions on their employability. Goldin observed that marriage based legislation frequently barred married women from continuing to work as teacher office workers. Goldin also established that another major element in the sluggish narrowing of the job gap between men and women was women's expectation for their future professions. Women's expectations were set by their mother's experiences and hence their educational and professional choice were not made with the expectation of a long, uninterrupted, and profitable career. Contraceptive pills. Women could exert greater control over birth and rarely plan careers and parenting by the end of the 1960s, and easy to use contraceptive tablets became increasingly common. Women also studied courses other than the service sectors such as law, economics, and medicine. Women were now catching up in terms of education and work opportunities. However, one significant disparity remained and continue to exist today: the gender wage gap, pay gap, and parenthood. Till the time men and women work in factories where their pay depend on the discountable output, the pay gap was not too high. It became wider when monthly pay contract came into the picture. One factor significantly impacted how men were paid versus women in childbirth. Once a child was born, they are also punished for that at work front in terms of slower rise in the pay scale because their responsibility of the family increases. So it became a taboo on their part. Okay, and so that led them to get less in wage. Then come to the question, analyze the impact of development projects and policies on tribal community in India. Tribal people make up to 8.6% of Indian population, yet account for 46% of total poverty. According to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India, in India, development initiatives and regulations have had a tremendous impact on tribal lives, which frequently resides in the remote and environmentally sensitive places. Impact of development projects and policies on the tribal communities. Positive impact, government policy and programs including the Forest Right Act, the Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Area Act, and the tribal subplan concept have tried to promote and preserve tribal groups' socio-economic development and rights. The Forest Right Act and the PESA Act, which is that Forest Right Act, the Panchayat Extension of Scheduled Area Act, PESA Act, gives tribal people legal recognition and protect their land rights. The tribal subplan strategy ensures that plan monies and allocated to tribal subplans in accordance with their population. Secular model residential schools have been successful in promoting education in indigenous areas for the tribal people students. The PESA Act gives indigenous group and authority to control their own affairs and strengthen local self-government. The negative impact, post displacement, development projects Okay. Development projects such as mining, dam construction, and installation often require large tract of land, which frequently results in the forced displacement of tribal community because they are normally constructed in the tribal areas. The Vedanta Group's mining project in the sacred Niyamgiri Hills of Odisha was blocked by the Supreme Court because the tribal living there, Dongriya Kandar, had not given their free prior and informed consent for the project, which Odisha government agreed to give to the Vedanta. But the Supreme Court appointed committee went to the place and discussed with the people, and finally, looking to the reaction, cancelled the deal. Okay, so this is a big setback to the government, but it is a protection of the tribal rights. Loss of livelihood. Development project often lead to the loss of traditional livelihood of tribal communities. The Virginia's JAXA committee report state that tribal have been pushed out of their traditional habitats due to land acquisition and displacement, which has impacted their agricultural and forest-based livelihood. The Sardar Sarovar Dam case is an example of this. The dam construction on the Narmada River in Gujarat resulted in the displacement of over 1 lakh people, many of whom were tribal communities. The project also led to the submergence of fertile agricultural land and destruction of livelihoods. Destruction of cultural heritage, development projects, and undue outside interference can also lead to the destruction of the cultural heritage of the tribal communities, which is against the idea of tribal Panchashila propagated by Jawaharlal Nehru. Lack of recognition of land and water rights. Tribal community have been using their land and water resources for generations, but these are often violated by the development projects. Development project and policy have had both positive and negative impact on tribal communities in India. The way forward involves ensuring the participation and consultation of tribal communities in decision-making process and promoting their inclusion and empowerment in mainstream society. Then coming to the MCQs, consider the following statements in relation to the Dandeli forest. The Dandeli forest can be found in the Eastern Ghats. It is wrong. The Kali Tiger Reserve, which is next to the Dandeli forest, is a protected area. That is correct. In the forest, the vast etopatum weed is displacing native grasses. So 2 are correct. 2 and 3. Then a willful defaulter means a borrower or a guarantor who has committed willful default and the outstanding amount is 25 lakhs and above. That is correct. A large defaulter refers to a borrower with an outstanding balance of 1 crore or more. The accounting has been categorized as doubtful or a loss. Here both are correct, 1 and 2. With reference to India-Maldives relation, consider the following statement. Under Operation Neer, the Indian Armed Forces have helped the government of Maldives in the neutralization of the co-patent. That is wrong. Under Operation Cactus, India supplied drinking water to Maldives to deal with the drinking water crisis. That is also wrong. So it is just the reverse. Consider the following statement with relation to the cyclone. Arabian Sea cyclones are more common and powerful than those in the Bay of Bengal. So they are more powerful but not are common. So that is wrong. The Bay of Bengal typically has higher sea surface temperature, which provides the energy and moisture required for cyclone creation and intensification. Right. The convergence of wind in the Bay of Bengal together with the Coriolis forces produces setting conductive for the formation of the cyclones. Only one is correct. That the B. The following statement relating to the Javan rhino, it is the larger than the larger one-horned rhinoceros. It is the larger than the larger one-horned rhinoceros. That is wrong. It is the thinnest horn of the rhinoceros species, right? So as IUCN Red List classified as a critically endangered. 2 and 3 are correct. So only 2 are correct. Answer is B. But the following statement regarding the Directorate General of GST Intelligence, it works under the direct supervision of the GST Council. Okay, right? It has the power to conduct investigation into suspected case of GST evasion on non-compliance. So here both 1 and 2 are correct. But in the motto of the Indian Air Force, in touching the sky with glory, the motto of the Indian Air Force, IAF. But the following statement about the Mount Blanc, it is the Europe's tallest mountain, right? It's situated in the Alps near the French-Italian border. That is also right. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Answer is C. What's the following statement regarding the Rodi shell duck? It is known as the Brahmin duck in India. That is right. It is found only in the Indian subcontinent is wrong. It is found at so many places. Only one is correct. So answer will be A. Ugandi Panan could be is a geographical indication that belong to that Tamil Nadu or the Jagri. Okay. କହିଲେ? ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ, ଏବେ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ।